In harbors across the world, where massive ships meet narrow waters, there is a small but powerful force at work: tugboats. Often overlooked, these hard-working vessels guide giants, rescue the stranded, and keep ports moving. This is the story of Tuggington Bay and the tugs who call it home. Every story has a beginning. Tugboats started with a simple idea. What if a harbor could tell stories the same way trains once did? And what if tugs could be remade and brought to life? Inspired by classic shows and a love for tugboats, Tuggington Bay slowly came to life. One character, one idea, and one episode at a time.
I remember watching a video by The Unlucky Tug. It was a retrospective about tugs, its history, and what made it special. The more I learned, the more I thought, what? Huh? The show is a masterpiece. It deserves a second chance. That moment always sticks out with me. It made me want to create something of my own, something inspired by that same heart and care. So I started working. I made models, came up with characters, and slowly began building a world. A few years later, I published the first two Tugboats books. Both will be used for stories. After that, I began working on the actual show, and soon it became a long ride. A journey filled with ideas, challenges, friends, and memories. That journey soon became Tugboats. And now, it's time to present the tugboats who make up this entire harbor.
The Ostags are the roughest tugs in Tuggington Bay. Led by the mysterious and ruthless Captain Coral, they cause trouble wherever they go. Their engines roar, their horns blare, and when they appear in the docks, everyone knows something bad is about to happen. They live in the shadows in a rusted Ostag's building near the Sailor's Dock, always plotting their next move. While they work together, each one of them has their own secrets, motives, and personalities. Orlan. Orlan is leader of the Osax of the Water. Strong, serious, and loyal to Captain Coral, he makes sure every job gets done. Once he worked with Captain Bluebell, but being replaced made him bitter and cold. He doesn't talk much, but when he does, the other Osax make sure to listen. Orby. Orby is sly and sneaky, always thinking of clever ways to cause trouble. Around the other Osags, he acts tough and mean, but when he's alone, he's strangely quiet. Nobody quite knows what he's really thinking. Orug. Orug is cunning and likes to think he's the smartest tug in the harbor. He often tries to act cool around other tugs, but he usually embarrasses himself instead. Sometimes he's clever, other times he's a total fool. Orip. Orip is clumsy and not very bright, but deep down he truly isn't bad. He often gets pushed around by the other Ostacs. Sometimes it seems like he wishes he could just have a different life. The Sapphire Sailors are the hard-working heroes of the Tugboats Bay. Led by Captain Bluebell, they keep the harbor safe and the ships moving. They may argue sometimes, but when trouble comes, they always work together. Their headquarters sits proudly on the docks, always busy with engines, chugging and horns sounding. No matter how tough the job is, the Sapphire Sailors are always ready to face it. Quarter. Quarter is a young switcher tug who is eager to prove himself. He sometimes rushes into things too quickly, but his heart is in the right place. When a job needs doing, Quarter is always ready to help. Funshine. Funshine is a cheerful little switcher who always sees the bright sides of things. He loves working with Quarter and is always right with a smile. His positive attitude can cheer up even the grumpiest tug. Skipper. Skipper is a street-smart, ocean-going tug and Quarter's big brother. He's tough, experienced, and always looking out for the smaller tugs. When things get dangerous, Skipper's always the one everyone trusts. Big Bick. Big Bick is strong, serious, and hates nonsense. He believes work should be done properly and without foolishness. Though he may seem gruff, he cares deeply about the harbors and his friends. Zorier. Zorier is a kind-hearted tug who always tries to help others. He can be a bit clumsy at times, but his intentions just never fail. Everyone knows that they can count on Zorier in a tough moment. Bowler. Bowler is a fancy tug who believes that he is the most refined tug in the harbor. He likes things neat, organized, and proper. Sometimes his pride gets him into trouble, but he always means well. BJ. BJ is an old paddle wheel tug who knows almost everything about the harbor. He is calm, wise, and often helps young tugs with ice. Many say that without BJ, Tugboats Bay wouldn't run as smoothly.
I provide the voice of Funshine, Orlan, Aura B, and I believe Big Bick for the UK dub. Funshine is a funny little rascal who's just trying to live out his life. And Orlan and Aura B are dastardly villains, and Big Bick is sort of an experienced sailor. Well, my characters are either young, innocent, evil, or, well, just love to sing sea shanties. Well, I guess Funshine was calling my name. Well, I'm a bit naive like Funshine, and a bit strong like Big Bick, and I can be dastardly like Orlan. Tugboats is a fan-created project. That's what makes it special.
I don't voice anyone, so I'll skip that first question. How would you describe your character? I'll go with favorite character. Basically like Quarter, well, 10 Cents and Sunshine. How I would describe him. Sorry, my microphone turned off for a minute. What's your favorite thing about the character? I like what he represents. Like, if you know about tugboats, you know that this is just tugs, but what if it came to America? Uh, the wiki goes more in depth, trust me. Makes my character different from the others. I'll skip that one. Which episode or moment was your favorite? I would have to say episode 3 or 4th of July are my favorite episodes. Do you relate to your character in any way? Well, we can both be assholes at times, so that's what. Um, the thing that surprised me most about these characters is that there was just a text to speech voice for a while. What do you like about most of the world of Talented Bay? I like what it represents. Like I talked about this during when I was talking about quarter, but I like what it represents. Why do you think stories like this matter? Well, it's rare to see shows like Tugs or Tugboats today. Like it's more like, oh, this is a kid's show. We have to make it dumb on purpose, which Tugboats doesn't do that. Like to quote a comment I saw, just because just because it's for kids doesn't mean it should be stupid. And Tugboats is not stupid. It's a good show.
Okay, so who do I voice? I voice Harry, I voice Tommy Tuba, and I voice Iron Hook. And here are my favorite things about them. My favorite things about Harry is that he has quotable lines. He says some pretty funny stuff sometimes. He stays silent when authority figures are talking. And my favorite things about Tommy Tuba, I like his name, I like his design, I like how I voice him. And then for Iron Hook, I like how he interacts with others. I like how he acts towards Quarter and Sunshine. I also like his interaction with like Boulder Hat and BJ. And is that all my questions? Oh yeah. How will I describe my characters? Did I already describe them? I think I did.
Hello everybody, this is Puffed Up in the Smoke Box speaking, and I am doing a thing for Kids Wonder Stories. It's a documentary for his little series Tugboats. Wonderful show, by the way, give it a watch. But anyway, some questions. Who do you voice in the world of Tugboats? I personally voice Oraby, and he's definitely one of my favourite characters. How would you describe your character? Zebedee from Tugs, but orange. What's your thing about your character? Well, Zebedee's one of my favourite Tugs characters. He's a misunderstood, but he's on the wrong side of the fleet, more or less. And from what I've seen in Tugboat so far, or what I've voiced in Tugboat so far, he seems like he's on the wrong side of the fleet, like Zebedee. So he's got the short end of the stick, basically. What's next? What makes your character different from the others? I'd say it's character design. He's got like a really wide head and his hat's on like a proper slant. And I think that's what makes him different from the others, because all the other ones wear their hats kind of straight. Which episode or moment was your favourite from Tugboats? Probably the first episode, Quarter's New Friend, or 4th of July, one of those two. What drew you to this role? I was kind of forced into it in a way. But, I enjoy it, so nothing really drew me to it, but there you go. Do you relate to your character in any way? Yeah, suppose so. What do you think makes Tugboats special? Well, it's like Tugs, but it's in a brand new light, and so it's appealing to a modern audience, which I think that makes it really special. What do you like most about the world of Tuggington Bay?
Skipper.
So, why do you think stories like this matter? Because it's amazing. And so, that is my little bit of questionnaire for this documentary on tugboats. Thank you, Kids Wonder Stories, for having me, and Puffed Up in the Smoke Box, signing off.
Well, okay, so I remember, let's see, it was about, I think it was around the end of school of 2025 when I learned about tugboats. When they subscribed to my YouTube channel, I believe, and I was also into tugs. I'm actually really big into tugs. I call myself a tugs historian because of how much I love this show. I voiced two characters, Johnny Gacy and Orby. Well, Orby, how can I describe it? Well, first, Orby they seem like a gruff tug, but he's kind of like a softie if you get to know him personally. Now, Johnny Gacy, on the other hand, now how I would describe him as being something out of The Godfather, where he is mercifully just threatening all around. Also, I would say my favorite thing about Orby is because well, how could I say this? I like him because I like Orby because he is the type of person that I would picture being in a UK bar, really, like one of those types. And for Johnny Gacy, his name really because of the little nod. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna say what the nod is, but just really think about his name, Johnny Gacy. Just think about that, alright? How Orby different from his other old stacks is that he's not all mean. And how I would describe Johnny Gacy is how... Now, Johnny Gacy, on the other hand, he's different because he is just deranged. That's all I can say. He's just deranged. To be honest, I think my favorite moment from an episode is in the 4th of July, when Funshine breaks the fourth wall and asks the narrator to be quiet. And I think my favorite episode might be Jinx the Busters, because the Tugs episode, Jinx, is one of my favorite episodes, and I like how it incorporates new stuff. The thing that drew me to this role is that basically I'll do anything either Thomas, Tugs, or Magic Railroad related. Basically what I'm saying is I can do good impressions. I just like it so much. To be honest, the character I really relate to the most is George the Barge. No, actually, hang on. I think I can relate to Orby be in a sense to where I sometimes put myself in situations like he did in Orby's bad day, and I can relate to Johnny Gacy in a sense to where I easily get angered. I think what really surprised me the most about playing both characters is how many times my voice gave out. But in all seriousness, I really surprised me about is how I could do two characters and kind of with them having kind of the same voice, but one being like changed in a sense, if you get what I'm trying to say. I think I think the thing that makes Tugboat special is the great relationship the crew has with each other and the matter of like great relationships. I mean, like not dating, but just like friends. I like okay, the thing I love most about Tuggington Bay is the characters themselves, and every day is not a normal day, and like almost every day something goes terribly wrong. I think the stories matter. I think the stories matters because the great morals they teach.
Hello, I am Jack BT, and I am the voice of Big Bick in Tugboats. Now, I was called here to answer a few simple questions about the show, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, next question is, how would I describe my character? Big Bick, I don't think he gets a lot of screen time, but I imagine he's a lot like Big Mac. You know, a gruff, hard worker. Though, to me personally, it doesn't seem like he likes a lot of people. You know, he hates steam engines, he hates diesels. Dude just hates everyone. He's the type of person to be inside of a GIF saying, "You suck! You suck!" And that's why he's my best friend in the world. What was my favorite moment or episode with this character? Probably my first voice line with Big Bick, or basically he says to Skipper, "We can't hold it, Skipper! The wind's too strong!" Just because I find the delivery of that funny. What drew me to voicing Big Bick? I thought I had a good Big Mac impression, so that's basically why I chose the character. I think BJ was taken, so I also have a good OJ impression, but yeah, that's fine. Do I relate to Big Bick in any way? I don't think so. Like, I haven't done a DNA test yet, but I don't really see him being part of my family. Just cause, like, I'm a person and he's a boat. Not discriminating against boats, okay? But I just don't know, like, you know, how that's possible. But
Uh, that's not really the question. It's like, you know, the actual personality and character, not the like relationship, as in like family.
oh, that's not what the question means? Use that take anyways. I'm not gonna redo that. Okay, fine. I'll do the retake, okay? Jeez, put that clapping thing down. I will do the retake. No, I do not relate to Big Bick in any way. Alright, is that good? Oh, now you want me to do it as if I'm not being threatened against my life. Yeah, I know I wasn't actually being threatened and you weren't actually doing anything, but it's for the drama, okay?
It was
for the drama. What surprised me about voicing this character? I think I kinda said this already, but mainly that Big Vic doesn't have that many lines. He isn't as involved in the show, I don't think. What do I think makes Tugboats special? Well, I think it's pretty cool because they're so small yet so strong. I mean, one of the smaller ones by itself could pull in a whole ocean liner.
No, no. The question was referring to the show Tugboats, not tugboats in general.
Wait, there's a show called Tugboats?
Yes, you voice one of the characters. It is literally what the documentary is about.
Yeah. My bad, I forgot. Now that I have that information, what do I think makes Tugboats special? Well, it's an interesting concept. I mean, I think the idea was tugs, but if they kind of did things differently, like marketed to a different audience. Of course, though, Tugboats has different characters and whatnot, but like inspired by Tugs, you know. Tugs was very gritty and realistic and stuff, and Tugboats, it's like a different take on that. What do I like most about the world of Tuggington Bay? I like the style of it. Stylistically, it's pretty cool. Actually, the style of Tugboats is gonna inspire a series I'm making, so yeah. Why do I think stories like this matter? I'm gonna assume this question means like kid shows and stories in general, because there isn't like a specific episode. Kid shows in general matter because we're all here, right? I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you're either a fan of Tugs or Thomas. So that shows that these shows can inspire what you want to do later on in life and what your hobbies and interests are early on. And, of course, you learn lessons too, but yeah. Alright, but I think that is all the questions. Thanks for having me on Quarter, or Kids Wonder Stories, whatever you guys know him as, the owner of this YouTube channel. Yeah, that's Big Vic going away now. Real quick though, I am running a show called Lake Ollie if you ever wanted.
Hello, I'm Mr. Beluga. I'm a voice actor and a writer for the UK dub of Tugboats. And today I'll be answering a few questions. Question number 1. Who do you voice? I voice Bowler, Skipper, BJ, and Francois. Question number 2. How would you describe your character? Well, Bowler, he's like Top Hat, but not really, because he holds himself high, like Top Hat, but he doesn't, like, he holds himself high, he's pompous, but he does still care about his friends to an extent, not as much as Top Hat. So if I would compare him to someone, I'd compare him to James Thompson Friends, since while James is smug, pompous, etc., he does still care about his friends at the end of the day. And then Skipper, I describe as a voice of reason. He always has a solution to everything. BJ, he's wise and experienced, but if it comes to protecting his friends or such, he will step out of his comfort zone. And then Francois, he's also quite pompous as Top Hat, but not really as extreme. He's like Top Hat, like really dialed down, very watered down, you could say. Question number 3. What makes your character different from the others? I suppose Bowler's quite different aesthetically. He's the only Tug that has monocle, bowler hat, and his personality is also unique since he's posh. He talks in a very British accent, and I suppose personality, that's sort of unique for all of them. Skipper, really, he's got very unique personality since he's smart. He's very smart, and he's got good problem-solving skills. And what also makes Skipper unique is that he is the only ocean-going Tug. And then that sort of links to BJ as well, since BJ is unique, as he's the only paddle Tug. BJ is also unique since he's experienced, wise, like I've already said before, but he can lose himself. He can step out of his comfort zone. That's not really something you see with wise characters that often. Francois is unique since, well, he's the only French character, if I remember correctly. Question number 4.
what episode or moment was your favourite? I think my favourite episode would have to be, well, Quarter's New Friend. I think it's a fantastic pilot, and while it is similar to the Tug's pilot, Sunshine, it's also very unique. It builds off the Tug's pilot very well, and my favourite moment of the show would have to be the opening few scenes of Fire. Not really a moment, I know, but a series of moments. I really like Fire. I don't really know if that episode's released yet, but I mean, if I am spoiling something, I haven't really spoiled anything, have I? Yeah, I mean, if Fire's in the works, or if it hasn't released yet, at the time of recording this, it certainly hasn't. Question number 5. What drew you to this role? What drew me to Bowler and Skipper was, well, Top Hat and Hercules were my favourite Tugs characters for a long, long time. And I could do relatively good impressions of them. So then, when came the opportunity to play characters who were basically just Top Hat and Bowler, Top Hat and Hercules, sorry for that, I jumped at the opportunity. I obviously took it with glee. And then BJ, what drew me to BJ was, it was his uniquity. He was the only paddle steamer, and I got to do an old man. I got to play a wise old man, Gandalf sort of character, and that sort of I really like doing. I really like playing BJ. He's just a very fun character to voice. And then Francois too. He's very fun to voice, since French accents I love doing French accents. They're very fun to do. Question number 6. Do you relate to your character in any way? I suppose I relate to Skipper and Bowler, since Bowler, I too am very smug. Sometimes I'm very pompous, I'll admit. And then with Skipper, I do have very good problem-solving abilities. Question number 7. What surprised you about voicing this character? I think I wasn't really surprised, but I wasn't surprised with any of the characters except for BJ. What really surprised me about BJ was how much of a I've already said he acts quite rashly sometimes, and that's quite odd to think, since he's meant to be the wise, experienced character. Question number 8. What do you think makes Tugboats special? I think Tugboats it's stylistically very unique. Even if some of the plots are quite similar to the Tugs plots, the aesthetics and the character design, everything of Tugboats is extremely unique, and that makes it stand out from any Tugs fan projects, or any Tugs inspired fan projects out there that I've ever seen. Question number 8. What do you like most about the world of Tuggington Bay? I think it's the diversity, really. There's so many different characters, locations, different types of characters, so many places to go. It's a lovely little world. Question number 9. Why do you think stories like this matter? Well, fiction has always mattered, since it entertains us. It helps us get away from our normal lives. I believe it was the French actor Louis de Funès who said, my goal is to make both women and children. Oh no, sorry, it was, my goal as an actor is to make both grown-ups and children laugh in this overly sad world. And that sort of reflects why I think stories like this matter, because it helps us get away from our daily lives. And that also links to the next question: what makes you want to be a voice actor? Which, I want to make people laugh. I want to make people feel, I don't really like playing overly sad roles. I prefer to play, fun characters. It's because of that previous quote. I want to make both grown-ups and children laugh, because our world, it's quite sad sometimes, and it helps to get away from that most of the time. Well, yeah, that'll be all. I'm Mr. Blue, like I said before, and check out the Tugboats UK dub coming out soon, because as of recording this, it hasn't come out yet.
As of now, the future of Tugboats seems pretty promising and pretty bright. So after this documentary, hopefully we will be able to get more episodes out and more content like books and read alouds and stuff. And hopefully we can soon make like a model tutorial so you can make your own tugboat models at home. And hopefully we can make more content and soon a website to sell the books and stuff. We're also gonna be trying to expand and hopefully get the characters and show more recognized by creating a license guide, and so people who want to use the characters and settings and stuff can use them, and they will know what they can and can't do. We'll also be making a lore book soon and a character bible so people can know the personalities and how characters react and stuff. So before they quickly judge of the character's actions and stuff. The license guide will be linked in the description of the documentary video. And for other updates, we are now working on a movie film and a spin-off show. That's right, Tugboats is now going to have its own spin-off show, The Adventures of Mark. It's going to be about Mark the Steam Engine. He cameoed in 4th of July and will make an appearance in the episode Fire as a train, as the train who delivers goods and stuffs. And we'll also be making a book for him, as well as another book for Tugboats. As for more updates on like the actual show, we're filming the new episode Quarter's Day Out. This story will be about Quarter and Skipper. They'll be delivering a rusty schooner ship to Newtown Harbor, and a huge crash happens. I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say it's one of the cool crashes, and will feature a new damaged prop, and is one of the like first books of Tugboats. Now for the special winter episode, as you can see on the screen, it's gonna be about winter and how Quarter and Funshine, they need to deliver a special barge of supplies to a place, and then they'll get some more supplies when they return. But a huge storm happens, and a huge tramper, it destroys them and hits them, and they're now stranded. They must find their way back to Tugboats Bay somehow. So when that book gets published and the new episode comes out, I'll make sure to update y'all on everything, and yeah, that's kinda it. I'd also like to give a huge thanks to the people who support me and written the stories and storyboards and stuff, especially Mr. Beluga and Anonymous Friend. And we're also planning for 2 more seasons, season 2 and 3. We already got the lineup of episodes for season 2, and we're gonna plan out for the season 3. So that's kind of it right now for updates, and thank you all for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Also, someone gets written out in season 2. And now we've finally reached the end of the documentary. After all we've been through, I realized Tugboats isn't just some random show I created. It's more of a love story to the show Tugs. I always wanted to somehow bring the show back into obscurity in the general public, and I figured my show was the way to do it. So I created the show not just because I love boats, trains, Toms and Friends, etc., but I also want to fulfill David Min's dream of having a tugboat show, not just being some friendly, kid-friendly one, but also dark and funny and also for adults. I also appreciate all of the people who supported me throughout the many months and weeks of Tugboats. I like the people who make the fan models, make drawings of Quarter and his friends, and appreciate everyone's thoughtful and kind comments on my show, and love that people like the show and the characters. Some people may call Tugboats a ripoff of Tugs. I call it, to me, a homage and tribute to the man who directed and defined my childhood. Thank you, David Min, and thank you for helping me be a good person and making my childhood. Rest in peace, David Min. I hope you are proud of me. And that's the end of the documentary, folks. Thank you for your patience and watching, and goodbye, all.